Well, as the championship turns, and what a turn it had tonight in Detroit. This is Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. It was crazy in both the lights and in the Supercross class. Chad Reed crashes hard in practice. We thought he was probably out for the night. He manages to gut out a 12th place finish. One of the grittiest rides in the history of this tour. Kevin Windham only able to get third. Davey Millsaps wins. Championship is still in play, but Chad Reed minimized the damage, that's for sure, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, but by finishing 12th in that main event there, that leaves Kevin Windham 16 behind. And if Kevin Windham would have been able to win, that would have been 5 more points. That would have been 11. So it was a big gallant effort from Chad Reed to come away with that 12th place. He had a little help that last lap. Carpenter going down with Nick Wade. That was a couple more points. His teammate Nathan Ramsey pushing him. And, you know, at one point he said, I don't know if Nathan was trying to pass me or what he was doing, but it was interesting. And you'd mentioned something that we didn't know if he was going to ride. I was thinking, I didn't even know if he was going to finish out the season. I mean, that's how bad of a crash Chad Reed had in that first practice. And like you said, going to the hospital for 4 hours, getting carted off in the ambulance, coughing up blood, and you know, the shoulder injury that he had, you know, couldn't lift his arm up over his head. So yeah, it was definitely a big comeback for Chad Reed to finish up 12th. But how about Davey Millsaps, man? 2 wins on the season now. I thought Timmy Ferry, my buddy, was going to come away with his first Supercross win. He comes in second. Like you said, Kevin Windham comes away with that third and lost 5 points. I mean, those were 5 valuable points. And like he alluded to, he said, you know, when Chad Reed has a bad night and I got a chance to pick up points, I don't pick up the maximum. And the maximum being 25, he only picked up 20 tonight. Yeah,
that's a big difference. And Windham's going to have to dig deep, but no one's going to have to dig deeper than Reed, because, you know, it's one thing to come out of the hospital and who knows what kind of medication he happened to get on. And, you know, he was still kind of warm because he'd ridden, but these injuries and what he did after the injury and racing this main event has to take its toll. It's going to be hard in St. Louis.
Well, and the good thing about St. Louis, too, is you got to remember that Chad Reed can still take a provisional, because he had to take a provisional tonight here in Detroit to get into that main event. He can take one more next weekend in St. Louis if he needs one, if he doesn't feel like he can compete, you know, all the practices and the heat race and the last chance and all that. He's still got one more provisional he can take.
Well, that's going to be tough on him. We'll see what he can do. Davey Millsaps, he's got 2 wins now, so a pretty solid, what is really his rookie season, because last year he only raced half the tour, coming back from a leg injury.
Yeah, and I don't care what anybody says. I mean, that's a great bargaining tool. Everybody knows that Davey Millsaps' contract is up this year with Honda, and Short also, but Davey Millsaps is 3rd in the points. Short moves back to 4th, but Davey Millsaps has got 2 wins. And, you know, if you're another factory out there looking, it all depends on what happens with James Stewart on where the dominoes fall. But, you know, it was a great win here for Davey Millsaps, but still having that stomach problem that he said. You know, lap 13 he started to ride tight, and he says, you know, my stomach, I kind of tightened up. I didn't feel so good. So he's got some issues. I think it's just a dietary thing. I think he's just eating the wrong things.
Well, yeah, he can't eat his Wheaties anymore is what we found out. Into our lights class, waiting for Trey Kennard to finally ride like the rookie that he is, and he finally made some mistakes tonight. The first time we really saw him look rattled, even with the 2 4th-place finishes he had coming into this, there were still solid rides. Tonight, a disaster, and he's nearly thrown this championship away. Now it's going to be tough.
Well, it's only 3 points. Ryan Villapoto is behind 3 points. Both riders have 3 wins on the season, so they're tied there. It's whoever wins in St. Louis or whoever beats out the other rider. And, you know, and if they tie, they're going to go to whoever has the most wins. Then they're going to go to who finished second the most. Well, obviously, the guy who finished second was Villapoto, so the more seconds. But, you know, I alluded to it earlier in the show. I said, you know what? Trey Kennard's got to turn this thing around. He can't come back from those bad deficits that he had in Minnesota and last week in Dallas. It continued, and he put himself in a great position. Villapoto comes away with that hole shot. Kennard's running second, and he runs it down into after the whoops and trying to go for the lead, and he almost crashed. That was one mistake. Then, you know, he just pushed it out there. He was in a battle with Nico Izzy and all those guys. He needed to just, I think it finally came, but you know what? Trey's a fighter, Villapoto's a fighter. I think we got a great race going down to St. Louis. And how about second and third? We got 2 guys that should have been on the podium all season long, making their appearance on the podium. I'm talking about the Boost Mobile Yamaha Troy. Ryan Morris finished his second tonight. I got to be happy for Nagatoshi Chiba. You know, that was a dream of his to come to the United States and be a mechanic. He's got all the credentials of winning championships in Japan with Takeshi Koikeda and Akira Narita. I helped him out, you know, I got him his visa, I got him the job at Yamaha Troy. Chris McAvoy, you know, said, what about his English? I said, you know what? tuning a motorcycle, it's a universal language. He knows what to do on this thing, and I was just happy to see him be able to get his motorcycle up on that podium, and Ryan Morris to, you know, that Detroit owed him one from last year when he finished 3 points behind, you know, in the championship here in Detroit, and to come back a year later and get up on that podium. He says, only if I would have did that podium last year, I would have been the champion. But and how about Brandon Justman? Having his problems tonight, comes back, wins the last chance race, and gets into that main event. And he worked hard to come up and fight for that third position. But I think it's neat to see guys that, you know, the first time this year on the podium.
Well, that's kind of been the theme. It has been a year of first-time winners. Now Davey Millsaps is a two-time winner. It's just as unpredictable as you could have possibly predicted it would have been. That is Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship from Detroit. You better get your tickets for St. Louis, for Seattle, and for Vegas, because all three of these championships are coming down on the wire.
Yeah, and I can't wait till that East-West shootout in Las Vegas when I get to see the East and the West go head-to-head, because I think that's going to be a phenomenal race right there in itself. I mean, everybody, you know, I think that they say, well, which is the best, the East or the West, you know, and the West is probably saying, well, look at our championship. We're taking it down the last race, and it's only 6 points. Well, the East says, well, we're going to do one better. We're going to the last round, and there's only 3 points separating Kennard and Villapoto.
It'll be awesome. I hope you tune us in next weekend from the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. For Jim Holley, I'm Jason Weigandt. We're out of here from Motown.